start by saying good evening,
Good evening.
Uncle Unai. I mean, shout out Villa and the players, all the work they're doing there, and actually stepping up to the level. I'm like watching their game right now because I couldn't watch it live earlier. But Unai Emery, where does he rank right now in world football? Really, like amongst the world's best managers, where does he rank right now for you?
In
Like,
2023?
Yeah, sure, we could go with
Yeah,
that.
this year he's probably top five managers easily because he in his form as Sevilla in 2023 like only second behind Man City, right? He collected points won in terms of points won, and they carried on this form into the season. So it just shows it was not a fluke.
I've never seen the 4-4-2 look so good.
And they just look so dangerous. So dangerous.
Man, I don't know. The Brexit football had us thinking that the 4-4-2 is just this dead, one-dimensional system, but he's showing us new ways, man. And like I said, I'm watching them right now, and they've had City under the cosh from the jump.
And like for me, it's like there's been a lot of talk of like buying players, like on a budget or buying players that fit your system. And honestly, the way they bought players is kind of like incredible. Like the right fits at the right time. You see Pau. I think Pau Torres is amazing. I think even though he had a rocky start, Tielemans, I think for free is insane. You know what I mean? And then obviously making players better. Like there are players who are already there who just look incredible. McGinn, like captain material.
Ollie Watkins.
Like,
in particular McGinn. In particular, McGinn, because Emery taught him like you don't have to rush the ball, you don't have to just kick it long. You can hold on to the ball, make plays. He taught him to slow down. I think that's one of the important aspects, of McGinn's game that's improved a lot.
And you can see the dynamic like play he has. Like he can do so much. He can do so much, and like the players fitting the system is so important. And honestly, the way they've signed, it looks like there's players who can stay there for years. Like Pau, he can be under any coach. He looks like he can play that well.
Yeah, Pau can play.
Yeah, but all around, just building the team, incredible.
It's also behind the scenes what they did, hiring Monchi, getting all these football people that to do their bidding, because they have also like American owners that don't know about football, but they're smart enough to put football people in charge of operations at the club, and it makes United's situation even more embarrassing.
So what I'm saying, man, like who would have thought having people with expertise in the game would make a difference? Who would have thought, man? But even watching them now off the ball, they're so well drilled. Like, yeah, he's easily top 5 coaches in the world right now, I'd say. I think he's harshly judged from his stints at Arsenal and PSG. Because PSG, well, the prize they're seemingly after is the Champions League, and everyone has failed at that there. Maybe there's a bigger underlying issue to that. And Arsenal were just a mess of a club at the time he took over.
Yeah, the Arsenal stint is like the team, the club, the atmosphere wasn't great. But also sometimes his decisions when he was there and putting Torreira as a number 10, which to me, still to this day doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's not his fault.
It begs the question, is this his level? Because you see what happens when he gets to the heights of Arsenal and PSG, regardless of whatever dysfunction might be surrounding those clubs during his tenure. You see the results and how it plays out. But then he goes to Villarreal and he comes to Aston Villa and his name starts to pop back up in these discussions again. So is this just his level then? Like, obviously, he is a brilliant coach, but do his methods just not work once he makes the step up? Like, is this just
I think
his?
sometimes like his spell at Arsenal was, I think sometimes the players didn't respect and make fun of his accent. They did all this kind of stuff, you know. Like I feel like he needs the whole team to abide by him. You know what I mean? Believe in him, and he needs the club's full support. And if he doesn't have that, like he's sometimes big clubs and big players have big egos, so it's kind of hard to obtain that.
That's true, but
Personally, I know there's like level obviously matters. Like when you manage like a smaller club compared to PSG or Arsenal, there's different levels. But like for me, I'd switch the narrative to like fit. I think fit matters a lot. You know what I mean? I think when you talk about fit and like how he fit at PSG, I didn't think he fit. And Arsenal, like at the time of the club, I don't think he was gonna fit to what they needed. Like Arteta fits in a different way, but like if you go to Villarreal with the players he fit, if you go to Aston Villa with the players, as Abi said, they need to abide by him. Like everybody needs to commit to the structure. Everybody needs to commit to the style of play, and just the desire to be there in that club in that sense. So I'd say the fit is perfect at Villa because like nobody could see this coming, and like that's what happens. Like right place, right time, right players, and you get a result like this.
and on the other end of the dugout in this game, Pep City. Where are they in the table now? Third, second, or third?
I
Something like
think I
that.
think they third. No wait,
They're
yeah,
fourth. They're fourth.
fourth now. Yeah,
Fourth.
Okay,
Villa
so
third.
in the last four Premier League games now, that's what only 3 points they've picked up. There's three draws on the spin, and now they've lost to Villa. First, I have to ask, when I asked you guys before the game, like I saw the team sheet and I asked, is Rodri injured or suspended? Because I didn't see him on the team sheet and the bench. And once I didn't see him there, I just almost expected Villa to win because Villa Park right now is probably the hardest away game in the league, bar none. Like the atmosphere, the way they play, their form. I think it's 14 wins in a row or something like this now at home, which is I think is a equals the record. And we've seen this story before. Without Rodri, man, they're not the same team. The results are there to prove it. The numbers show. Why is there such a almost calamitous drop off without Rodri as opposed to with him?
First, I'd say it's the importance. Like the player sometimes is like too crucial to how the side plays. Like if you see his role, I feel like if you look at the top teams like of last season, without Rice and without Rodri, the team looks different. I feel like if Arsenal lost Rice, it would be like kind of like the same thing, like in the terms of the way of play. But he's like their leader, like a silent leader. You know what I mean? When it comes to just driving the ball forward, when it needs to calm down, he knows how to calm it down. He does so many different things for them, and like that's why he probably is the best in the game right now at what he does. And without De Bruyne, obviously, it's tough. Those are two big key players missing in the midfield, which is it's tough to.
I feel like everybody like KDB is a special player. I understand,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like they've won the title of Iron like before. Like he's, but Rodri is just like without him they lack control in midfield. They don't have any control, like especially in that area. They don't have nothing. Nobody. He's like a metronome, like take a metronome.
There was a season De Bruyne was out almost the entire season. I think it was that year when they went out in that crazy quarterfinal to Spurs.
Yeah.
I think KDB was injured for most of the time. And Bernardo Silva, 1 or 2 years, Bernardo Silva just stepped into his place put them on his back, and he was balling out like the whole season, and they won the league. So brilliant as he can be replaced. Rodri, in the position that he plays, at some point or another, he will pick up a suspension. Probably, it's not an unlikely occurrence for a holding midfielder to get booked from time to time. And he's human. He is he is not immune to injury. How do you fix this? Because it's there for everyone to see. If he doesn't play, they lose. So if you're in Pep's shoes, or you're the team, you're a part of the team around him, how do you resolve this issue? It's obviously don't trust Calvin Phillips, because whenever Rodri's out, they have Rico Lewis starting in midfield. They have John Stones as a center back starting as the six. So it's obvious they don't trust Calvin Phillips. How do you resolve it? Because you can't just go through the season with the situation as it is. Because let's say, God forbid, a lot of players are picking up lengthy injuries right now. What if he joins that list?
Yeah, the problem is you have to find a player that's good enough, but also happy enough to be on the bench for Rodri. And the thing is, finding a player good enough, you probably can find it, but someone that has a mentality like to sit on the bench, I don't think is at that level.
No,
It's gonna be hard to find.
I don't think. First off, I don't think there's a like-for-like replacement for him right now at all. Anywhere I think he is the guy in that position.
Yeah. But I don't see them that's in them.
You probably won't find anyone exactly at his level, but there has to be a solution, man, because it's grim without him. It's not looking good.
I personally think a change of system, honestly, with the way they play. Like, I would say change of system would be my first place to look, because they usually do this center back in the midfield kind of situation, and they play him beside Rodri, whoever the the center back is there. But like without him there, like you gotta find a different solution to that. Like, you have to change up the system, maybe try and bring Kova in there, maybe try and bring somebody else in there to, support in that sense. But I think change of shape maybe would be the best situation for them.
That's what Chelsea about all the CDMs, eh? So no one gets
And absolutely. Even with the center back in there with him, tactically, I think that's also to help his game to like afford him more time, another option, a bit more space. Because if he's by himself as the pivot, everyone knows how good he is. Everyone's going to target him. It's easier to target him if he's by himself. But if he has help in that specific area, then, it poses another question. You commit another body to like shut down him and his aid, knowing that they can just pop it around you and your team is wide open. So maybe a change of system is in order. John Stones looks comfortable as the six.
Yes.
But no, man, he is irreplaceable in this team, Rodri. I don't know how they will solve that one, but it's surely something they'll have to address. But like you said, a change of system might be in order. Because even if you look at like their spending habits recently, the players they've brought in, Kovacic, Nunes, Mateus Nunes, Jeremy Doku. What do these guys all have in common?
No attacking players.
Not just attacking players. They're all, you could say, dominant in one particular trait: carrying the ball. Kova, Mateus Nunes, Doku, they're all players, get the ball to feet, and they're good at carrying it forward. So maybe it could be that he planned for something like this. So maybe there's something to be done there. Maybe there's a way he can utilize that. Again, that would, as Abdul says, probably require a change of shape to accommodate them and maybe try to not change the style, but execute it in a different way instead of like trying to play through Rodri to get to them, having someone who can bring the ball themselves from that position forward. Because yeah, these players obviously Doku's the outlier there. He doesn't play in midfield, but Nunez, Kovacic, and so on, yeah, they can carry the ball. So maybe he can utilize that. But yeah, it's definitely something for them to think about.
Sure.
Lucky for them, Rodri's not African. Because if they were to lose him for AFCON 2 for a month, it would be long, man.
I don't think they would even allow him to go.
That's why I'm so happy Saka represent England, man.
Yeah. For sure. Honestly, though, but when it comes to reinventing, like they've reinvented themselves constantly throughout the years to deal with different types of teams, different like ways of play. When it comes to reinventing, City are just like really, really good. And I feel like they'll find a way to like, find a solution to the
that season of no strikers was so legendary.
Yeah, it's just every season, like you throw someone at them, they find a way to move along. So
also,
I was watching an interview. I don't remember. It might have been Bernardo Silva or someone, and they said Pep is like obsessed with like not being figured out. Like every season it's like something new. He's always thinking, how can we evolve? Like last year, he broke out the box midfield and no one knew what to do with it.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking, I think to this day, people are still trying to figure out, like, yo, how do we counter this? Mm-hmm. But he's already thinking ahead. It's like, okay, so like, what if they figure out the solution to that? What's the next step? And it's really fascinating, but right now, this Rodri situation looks like the one that has him stumped. So we'll see how that unfolds. But while we're on City, I don't feel like we can ignore City v Spurs on Sunday. First of all, brilliant game. But man, the way it was decided, if you're a City fan, I felt a little like, pressed about it, and I have no dog in this fight. But the way that game ended, I've never seen something like this where a ref plays the advantage, and then after the advantage is played in an advantageous way, like it works out to be beneficial, he calls it back for the foul. Like I would be absolutely livid.
That's what I'm saying. Spurs, the referee's probably a Spurs fan. I'm not even kidding, bro. The same referee Spurs and Liverpool game. The same exact ref.
Honestly,
forward.
Yeah.
We need to start a show at the PGMOL. See what's going on.
Yeah, why don't you go find me, huh? Go find me, huh? Yeah, I'm not part of the Premier League. Get out of here.
Honestly, they're so entertaining. Though. Honestly, just every week there's something new.
Bro, did you see the penalty that? Okay, let's talk about the penalty, right? It's just, Man City always get easy penalties. Remember the Cucurella and Haaland situation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Remember that, right? You then go to the Luton game, and Gabriel gets pulled. They look at VAR, and they say nothing. Like, what's going on? I said, this is an unprofessional organization. You have a person from data against Arteta for speaking.
Yeah. And even watching other games, it's like nobody knows what's a foul, what's a penalty. You just don't know what it could be or could not.
The biggest problem is the clear and obvious thing, the hide behind them. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I think it was Owen Hargreaves or something who said the same thing today, covering United versus Chelsea. He's like, no one knows anymore what's a penalty. Like, it all seems subjective, It's one person's opinion versus another.
Yeah. And there have been reports, I don't know if this will go through, but they're trying to train ex-players to become refs, like to give them like a fast track to become refs soon. So because I think they're saying they have like the mentality of players, but they're trying to bring them into the referees world to, really bring them back.
They would definitely view the game in a different way, I suppose they would understand the emotions of certain situations a bit better,
Yeah.
like a derby game or something like this. Like, let's say the Manchester Derby, the London Derby, El Clasico. Someone who has actually played in either one of these types of fixtures or something like this would definitely have a different viewpoint because they would have been in the situation, felt the emotions. They would have an idea of what's going through the players' minds. So yeah, whether it would be good or bad, that remains to be seen. Like first, we'll have to see if that actually goes through. I didn't know that that was on the table, but yeah, that's an interesting idea right there.
What if African Fenwa becomes the ref, man? What do you mess with him?
Oh my god. He'd be like the black version of that one Italian referee.
Pierre Colagini.
Yeah,
Gianluca
Colina. Yeah,
Colina.
with the bald head and the crazy eyes. I feel like the man would fear African Fenwa the same way they feared him. You know.
Yeah.
Speaking of interesting ideas, the sin bin. Abdul, you heard about that one?
Say it again.
The sin bin.
The sin bin. I haven't heard it. Can you explain it to me?
So basically, if a player does anything dissentful or anything else like that, the referee can book him and he sits out for 10 minutes.
Oh.
I think it's similar to like, is it hockey where they have something like this where they kind of send you to the penalty box? Yeah, so basically, yeah, someone rose the idea, or it's being debated about bringing that into football, specifically the Prem. You feel about that one, or you think about that one?
That's ridiculous.
Say it again. Still go for it.
That's ridiculous. All it would encourage is teams playing in low blocks, but they temporarily deal with this, and then it's probably make the game less entertaining. Like it doesn't do anything. Like just
for me,
do you know in hockey? Do you know what happens in hockey when a team has a penalty? Basically, the other team just defends their whole box. The other team attacks. It doesn't make the game more entertaining at all. It's just
for me. I think it will take. You know how like back in the day when people used to say, "Oh, Barcelona used to dive crazy," you know what I mean, to get the advantage. I feel like people will start using those advantages like crazy. People will start gaming the system. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like you intentionally just trying to get those advantages to get a player off, you know, to have the advantage to go the other side, attack. So I feel like that will be the biggest thing with that personally. But it's an entertaining idea. I could see it being very chaotic if it goes that way.
Yeah, but then it's another subjective thing because you might be able to say something or speak to one ref in a certain way and he understands and whatever. And then you might put another ref in the same situation and maybe just because of the pressure or whatever, they abuse their power a bit. And then you end up with a team, a man. 10 minutes is a long time to be a man down in football, bro. A lot can happen in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Personally, I'm not really a great fan.
Yeah.
At least in hockey, come out of the penalty box, you can go fight somebody or something. you can't do that in the Prem. So I'm not sure what it would achieve because if they think that's going to stop players from getting frustrated, that's not going to happen. The refs make poor calls. The players are still going to air their discontent. So I don't think it will have the desired effect. If anything, like you said, I think it would be make the game less entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're going with that one. We'll wait to see if it will pass. But nah, there's no way.
Like Lewis Dunk recently got a red card for abusing the referee. So I feel like if you're more harsh in the bookings, then this can be solved. Like you don't have to do a sin bin.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Yeah, it's just
kicking them out of the game. I'm not sure is the right way to go. I mean, isn't that why we have red cards and so on anyway? So I don't think that extra penalty or whatever you want to call it is really necessary.
Yeah.
If it's that bad where you have to send them off the field, it shouldn't be that you send them off and they can come back. Like if they gotta go, they gotta go, and that's it. It's like we're not kindergartners here. It's like, okay, you go sit in timeout. And no, they're grown men, man. Like they know the rules. They know their restrictions, their limitations, and so on. Yeah, they might push their luck from time to time, but yeah, a yellow card will suffice. If you feel it's that bad where they gotta go, then they get the red and they go. But the sin bin thing, nah, I don't know about
You guys want to talk about Everton's points deduction?
that. Everton's points did.
So it already got taken away. It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
They
They're
have
already
an
like
appeal.
in the relegation zone.
They have an appeal will be heard in around May. But the only thing is, they're only 2 points off the relegation. Like, I mean, they're 2 points away from safety. So it's not like the other teams are worse. I think they'll be safe.
But still, man, it's okay. What exactly were the charges again? Do you have that?
I seen just one charge. I think like spending more, and EPL. I think only can have 105 million pounds of like overspending, and I think Everton had like 124 million, something like that. So it was only like 19 million over the required loss. And now because of this, because of the PSL, which is the profit and sustainability, I can't say that word,
sustainability. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they are charged under that. But just only one charge, bro. Like imagine City, they have over 100 FFP charges. The only reason why UEFA didn't charge them, like make it bigger, is because it was statute of limitations.
It was past like the amount
past the limit. Yeah. So they couldn't because
Also, I imagine it surely takes longer to process 115 charges than it would a singular charge. Like if Everton only have the one offense against them, and it's easier to just look at that one offense in isolation and make a judgment of it. But 115, man, first that's a lot of charges to rack up to begin with. Holy shit. Ooh.
I think they'll be like a course or something in 2025, so they have plenty of time to win more trophies. While they evade the law, you know.
Bro, if you as a man had 115 charges under any charges at all right now, you couldn't be here talking to us on this call. You'd be in a cell.
Who knows? Maybe I'm there in the prison right now. You know, the background's changing.
We never know. We never know, man. So I was watching the game today, United versus Chelsea. So I see the penalty save from Sanchez. I'm thinking, oh, this guy must have heard us, talking bad about him the other day. We're talking the GC. He saved himself. But it was him giving the ball away to begin with that led to the penalty. And then he did the same thing like 3 or 4 more times in the game. I think the name Henny Rob is fitting. I've started calling him Henny Rob or Henny Sanchez because I don't know what he's doing. He did the same thing again the second half.
Yo, I saw in the chat you put Henry Sanchez. I'm like, what's this guy? I misread that. What the hell?
But he blindly tries to swing it out to the left side and pings it right to Anthony at the top of the box. I'm like, first of all, how is your heart, bro?
Honestly, there's something that happens to you when your team is under pressure for like 10 minutes plus. And you just see your goalkeeper just doing craziness time and time again. Like, I'm like, yo, at this point, I don't want you to receive the ball. Just kick it away. Just don't even when you're standing behind the goal and you just think the ball will roll over. It's like I just think it's gonna roll over with him. Just so many different things. Like his concentration level is terrible. Oh my god! Like I just can't believe him sometimes. Like he'll make solid, good stops, but when it comes to distribution, so suspect. Like I saw the backup keeper warm up, Georgi Petrovic, and I was like, yo, if we could bring the man on right now, I think it could be better. Like At this point, like I don't think he warrants a start. Like I want a different look. To be fair, I know
The
he's gonna
same
stick with it.
thing, he did it on the weekend as well. You watched the Brighton game, that one instant where he just kind of let the ball roll under his foot.
Exactly. It's just concentration, and I can see why Brighton like let him sit for a little bit. You know what I mean? I could see
Yeah.
why they benched him for a minute. Like he's great, but I think he would be great as more of a backup goalkeeper, like as a starting one. Like I I don't think he has the right to save McTominay's second header. It was a fast header, but I think Alisson's making that save. That's just how I think. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I think I think the best goalkeeper could make that save.
Yeah, I've seen Courtois pull those out, so I
Did you
can't.
saw Robert Sanchez for David Raya?
No, there's a question.
They're both Henny Spanish goalkeepers. I don't think I would pick
No,
it.
that's a question.
Honestly, right now, I pick Emi Martinez. I just think in terms of
This guy breaks my heart every time I see him, bro.
sorry.
From the beginning, I still can't get over that transfer. You know who we did that for? Bernd Leno. And Bernd Leno is so bad of his feet. It makes no sense that we got rid of him.
But like, forget the fans. What must Poch be thinking? Because the defense in front of him, bar Thiago Silva, is already inexperienced. Like you have young Colwill, and how old is it? Disasi?
Disasi, I think he's 25.
25. So not inexperienced. And you mentioned before he was captain at Monaco.
Yeah.
But as a unit, they haven't been together that long. Especially this combination at the back four. Like mad things today, seeing Cucurella starting at right back. I never thought I'd see that. Like that's wild.
A couple of games there.
But what goes through your mind as a coach, as a fan, even as the defenders in front of him, when you have this new look unit, fairly inexperienced, at least in the league and playing together and so on, and a goalkeeper behind them who, I don't know, I feel like the trust in him, the confidence, at least from the fans' point of view, diminishes with every passing week. Like, surely that's not sustainable.
And like, it's just every week I was like, this guy's not commanding enough. Like, there's literally no command in his game, and that's the one thing, you know, like when we have certain keepers like Edward Mendy, like no matter what, like I think I could trust him to be commanding his area. I could kind of trust him with certain things. Peter Cech, I'm used to goalkeepers like that. You know what I mean? But like with him, he just looks lost, bro. He looks so lost. And for me, like obviously I think we need a striker who will get us goals, but I think the goalkeeping department needs like big help. Like if
when is Nkunku coming back?
He should have been on the bench for the last two games, but I think they just want to be really careful with him. So I think in the next 2 weeks we will probably see him before Christmas rolls around. I think we'll see his debut. Yeah, but yeah, goalkeeping department. I think we need to sign somebody in January in the summer. Has to be.
Let's break the record again, and we'll give you Lunin. Right now, Lunin is definitely better than Robert Sanchez.
He's definitely better.
I promise you, Lunin is better than Robert Sanchez.
But when it comes to the Chelsea back line, I don't know if you watch games, but I just see Thiago Silva just mad all the time because it just seems like some guys are lost. He's always looking around. And that's like, honestly, that tells you the levels they have to be at. You know what I mean? And I understand, like Colwill, he's young. I understand that. But like I'm starting to expect more from Reece. You know what I mean? Like he can't performances like that. You know, when you're a captain and you're part of the back line, there's no like you have to be like the face, the leader. You know what I mean? And I just like I've not seen that from him since he's come back from his injury. He's looked like really, really lagging. He's looked lagging every
Do
time.
you think it was the right decision to give him the armband?
I think it's the right decision personally. I just think he's not ready in terms of his fitness. He just looks tired sometimes for some reason. I don't know why. Like the only game I'd say is the Man City game where he had to deal with Doku and he did it. But every other game, like chasing Anthony Gordon, he was getting burned. And today he was really like he had a hard time with Garnacho a couple of times, you know. So just I think his fitness needs to go up a lot.
You know what I think though? You should delete that Instagram post, the new post that's beginning of the season, like PS new era loading. That's a curse. That's a curse post.
It's a new, and this is what makes me have patience, Abby. I look at Arsenal a couple of years ago, and we're looking at mans like Hector Bellerin back there. We're looking at some crazy things. We're looking at
Monreal and man.
Yeah, Nacho Monreal was good. And come on, he was consistent. He was probably the most consistent defender.
He was good.
That time.
But I'm saying like man like Tavares.
Need to know.
Man's like Tavares and whoever, you know. It was a process to get to where Arsenal is.
Tavares reminds of KSI, bro.
That's crazy. Wow. You dissing the man's hairline? That's crazy.
That's wild. But yeah, it's a process, man. Mm-hmm. Like all really young players.
Trust the process, eh?
I'm trusting the process.
I have the process, man.
This downfall is so bad, man. Like you're actually trusting Spurs managers. Like Spurs didn't have Chelsea managers who are so good. Now the process is the world is going around, man. It's like
Chelsea never had a process, so this is all new territory. I'm learning so much, you know. Yeah. I watched a video today with Drogba and with Makelele and with just bare players from Chelsea's era, and you could just tell the aura was different. And you know, aura is a big thing, you know. Like it's just different times, you know.
Yeah, I was watching John Obi Mikel's interview on 5 with 5 when he was talking about that time and how he learned the role from Makelele and how Drogba kind of basically took care of all the black guys that came in. And Roman circling the training ground in his helicopter and stuff like that. And it definitely gives a different vibe to what you see now.
And he was talking a lot about how, like, Roman would say, if you're not coming to play, we're going to sell you. I'll give you the money to get out of here.
Yeah, it's like, it's basically saying, like, you're not safe. Like, not because you have the contract. It's like, I have the money. I'll pay you and you can bounce.
You can, and that's just the difference, you know? Like,
that's cold. Yeah. That's cold. But so Abdul, you watched Canada versus Jamaica live, right?
100%.
What are your thoughts on that game?
So when you watch the game, Canada looked in control first half, home crowd into it, you know, all the Canadian home crowd. First of all, I'll say the crowd was 50% Jamaican, 50% Canadian.
Of course.
So and you know what? I went to the Jamaica national team Instagram after. They said thank you to the Toronto Jamaican diaspora for coming out to support because the support was massive. The support was very, very massive. But in terms of control, if you look at Canada, first half they had it locked down. Like the midfield especially. And I had to go look these guys really quick. I know Estacio class, very, very class player. And when you watch him live, you just see that I think a big team could sign him at any point. And, you know, very, very press resistant, very solid, defensively very good, just an amazing player. And beside him,
when I see Porto's UCL games, he always looks good to me. Like he looks like he can play at that level, you know, like he can hang.
And the second guy was Kone. He plays for Watford, and he was phenomenal. So the biggest point I could tell while watching the game was when Kone came off, because he scored the first goal. Kone scored the first goal. When he came off, it was only Estacio running the midfield, and Jamaica put Bobby Decordova-Reid in the middle, because Bobby Decordova-Reid was playing on the side. and he was playing like kind of like an 8 to 10 kind of role. And the more he got on the ball, the more dangerous they became. But the second thing I'd say, a lot of selfish play. Like there was a lot of times where Alfonso was taking on people when he didn't need to take on, or like just like really poor decisions keeping possession. And especially like they got the first goal and you could just see Canada so pressured, so pressured. And yeah, Jamaica really, when they got that first goal, they started to step on their neck. Like they didn't let off. And I would say the biggest catalysts for Jamaica obviously will be I didn't know him before, but I know his name is Shamar Nicholson. He's a big striker. Guy reminds me of Drogba. Really strong on the ball, touch as light as a feather. Really, really good at.
I think his nickname is Bowser or something like that.
Yeah, like his touch, his ability to just bring the team upfield was really good. And second one would obviously be Demarai Gray. Demarai Gray was proper. But in terms of level, I think the level has improved a lot between the two teams. You can see certain players and you can see their quality. Because not too long before that, I watched just TFC against another team, and I watched this game, and you can tell like there's just a different air. Like when they touch the ball, you can see they touch the ball differently. The movements are different. The ability to just run into space, so many different aspects. But I think Jamaica is going to be a really strong team in the CONCACAF for the next couple of years. Really,
this summer I think there's going to be Copa America. So because they already qualified, because USA, Canada, is Jamaica one of the teams going to play in Copa America?
Copa America. So
they are going to play, right?
They already qualified. Canada has to play.
I think they play by invite or something. I don't know.
It's invited because they already qualified the World Cup, right? And there's no World Cup qualification matches for them because they're hosts. So I think they invited to Copa America to play competitive games.
Right. But this was the Nations League semi-final.
This is Nations separate competition.
Yeah. So Jamaica won on away goals, and which was the craziest thing. Like I was ready for extra time and penalties, but when
away goals should be banished from every level of football, man. I just hate it, man.
What, away goals?
I don't like it, man.
Yeah.
Champions League games are so much better without the away goals, man.
Yeah.
Been robbed for years.
And
I agree with that.
You hang your hat on it. Like Jamaica, after they got the 2 goals and the penalty to win the game, or to put them up on away goals, they just sat and just really calmly defended until the end of the game. But I'll say something the Jamaican players and fans have that Canada doesn't: the passion. The passion is incredible. Like the players were shushing everybody after the game. The flags were going up, bomba clap this, bomba clap, bomba clap, to the end of the day. And honestly, I won't lie, after Jamaica got the penalty to win the game, I was like, I might be a Jamaica fan right quick, I felt included, All the fans, like literally, they were not sitting down, like voices up, and I'm just a big fan of like their fans and also their team.
Having seen a game live now and kind of been able to analyze, enjoy, make your own judgments without like commentary or anyone feeding any particular ideas into your mind. I watched a bit of the game in the first half, early in the first half. I don't think anyone could argue that the standard that we measure a lot of football by is probably Europe right now. How far away do you think CONCACAF is from that level? And what needs to be done to bridge the gap?
Well, let's talk about Canada's team. I don't think Canada's team is serious, because like there's been many stories of financial issues. coaches have to raise money for their players to fly out. And they didn't have a kit for the World Cup. I think they used old kits. Didn't they use the old kits?
They did.
Everything is amateurish about the Canadian Soccer Federation. Like, I don't see like positivity in that regard. I think go ahead.
Yeah, and the way they're just set up, like I think a lot of Canada's problem stems from outside of the field. From the men's team to the grassroots level, it's outside of the field because it's not only the men's team that's facing this issue, it's the under 17 team, it's the women's team. Like all of them are just being held back by such a bad federation, honestly. Like it just doesn't make sense how they're progressing because right now we're hanging our hat on these European players, like players who play in Europe. You know what I mean? We're hanging our hat on our Alfonso Davis, on our Estacio, and all these kind of players. And these players won't save you if you don't have a, a great a great structure behind you. Because after the game, the coach was done. They fired the coach. Done.
Oh, shoot. I did not know that.
Over. And that shows you recruitment is terrible. It just shows you the structure is terrible. They're not prepared to face these big teams. So one thing I will say about European football and European national teams is that the federations, even if they're not the greatest, the structure and the ability to dictate a long-term project is a lot better because they're looking at their youth players. They're looking at players who will one day become the first team. Like they're developing like through the ranks from under 15, under 17, under 19, under 20, all these different levels. And I feel like that's where the CONCACAF needs a lot of help. Like when it comes to just the federations and its own, they need to step up a lot. US has a lot of controversy behind it. Like the Greg guy having problems with Gio Reyna. You know, like these are like really big problems. And that's why I say like Jamaica right now has not a lot of money in terms of their federation. But what they have is like a spirit that they have players who are dedicated to the team and that's like something you can build off of. If every country just brings all those together, it will be great. It will be great.
Yes, but I suppose if it was as easy as we say, then everyone would have done it by now. So I guess the question here is like, where do we start? Like, do we? I don't think we will hit the level of like the teams at the very top soon. Like it's definitely going to be a lengthy process. But like, should the focus be on developing the youth programs first? Should they sort out the senior teams first? Like, where should they start? I suppose in terms of like forming an identity, yeah, where does that begin? Does that start from the grassroots level, which I think it should? Because it might take a little longer to turn the wheel that way, but if you have like a generation of people coming up, like England is reaping the rewards of that now. If you have a generation of players coming up who are trained or conditioned in a certain way, not necessarily programmed to like take the risk and flair and passion out of their game, but if they're trained with a certain identity in mind, a certain structure in mind, and they come up, then maybe it will be easier for them to adapt to the highest level, to get to the highest level, because like there's a plan in place. We've been playing like this for so long. These ideas have been drilled into us for so long. So then as they get older and better, they just refine these talents. Then, we can even be on par one day. Because I think even with Africa, that's probably why a lot of African players opt to play for the wherever they stay in Europe. Simply because
The lack of
like
professionalism.
lack of professionalism
Kevin
and
Prince
like
Boateng spoke about it with Ghana.
yeah, and like a lack of identity, like the nations, the federations have to really decide where do we want to go with this? What do we want out of this?
Um, Personally, it starts for me. It's like how you generate your talent. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the England grassroots level, the talent pool is huge to choose from. Obviously, because there's more grassroots programs. But I feel like in Canada, from the grassroots level, it's a very pay to play way system. You know what I mean? Like the best sometimes might not have the chance to play because the most
They
paid
can't afford it.
they can't afford it. And this is one thing that sometimes they will hold you back. You know what I mean? Um, and in the sense of like where to start with, I would say, as you said, always have to start with the young generation. You know what I mean? And also, when you get there, what are we achieving? What are we trying to do? Um, I think the first part of the step for Canada was done in terms of scoring just one World Cup goal. That's a good start. You know what I mean?
That's a good start.
Yeah, but like, where do we go forward? You know what I mean? Like that. I think that Canadian team did well. They represented well, but how do we start going to these tournaments and really try to attack people and like really compete on the biggest level? Um, Morocco is the biggest example. You know what I mean? People want to come play for them. Like
Yeah.
the guys who are in Europe, they just say we don't want to play for Morocco because it just seems like the passion and the ability and the skills, everything was there to show. Everybody has some different quality to bring to the squad, and that's happening with some African teams. I'd say right now, like Senegal is. I don't know if you've watched the Under-17 World Cup, but
No,
their
that was Mali. That was Mali.
Sorry, Mali. Yeah,
Mali.
their Under-17 is incredible. You know, I was watching them. They they play, but you could tell some of those players are really gonna go right top. You know what I mean? So
Okay. Now it's an interesting one to look at
yeah,
because you could throw South America in there. You would have to because of like their significance in the game and the players that they produce. But yeah, it's something that kind of puzzles the mind. You're like they're human. It's a lot of them come from similar circumstances, like similar backgrounds, but like without even necessarily being more talented. Like some of these nations or players from these nations are almost guaranteed to get to a higher level just because of like the structure around them. So I think the significance of this previous World Cup for Canada and for CONCACAF as a whole was for the nation to qualify on merit. Like the next World Cup, they automatically qualify because they're the hosts. So that, yeah, they'll be a part of it, but it's like a free ticket. You got in. Getting in on their own merit, I think Canada, I think
I
they
think
had
the
the
next World
highest
Cup
goals
after that
in.
will be easier because it's 48 teams now. They changed it, right? It's not like
Maybe. But yeah, qualifying, getting there through qualifying, like they scored the most goals, they had the most points, most wins, and stuff like this. I think getting there on merit, on just like the results of their own performance, was a big step in the right direction and a good way to draw like positive attention and faith in the program. But then you have to push on from there. Like now you've gotten to that level, you've got a taste of it, you've seen what's necessary. The first game, they played against Belgium. They played quite well, and many people believe they should have won, but they didn't. And then against Croatia, and they started well. They scored the first goal, and then Croatian said, "Okay, we've been here before. This is our level." And they calmed the game down, and they outplayed them, tore them apart.
I still remember that press conference from John Herdman before the game. He says,
man, I'm sure he regrets that. But yeah, it was a harsh lesson because they got picked apart. Even when apparently they played better than Belgium, they still got picked apart. So now it's about learning from it and pushing on. And yeah, I think the region as a whole can like look at it and learn something from it. That you like continuous growth has to be the aim. Like you can't be satisfied with your level. Like regardless of how good you may think you are, when you get to that level, man, you'll get the harsh reality check.
Yeah. Also, like me, Mexico, for example, like Liga MX has a lot of money and they like to keep their players instead of sending them to Europe. So a lot of their players stagnate. There was one guy called Alexis Vega. He was very good. He had good potential. And somehow moved to Europe, never materialized. And was happy to stay and just be comfortable. And that's it, man. These players just develop sideways.
Yeah, but also that shouldn't be a bad thing, you know? The leagues should be developing and or at least aiming to develop and progress as well. Like Europe right now is definitely the standard. It's the highest level. But it shouldn't be the only way out. It shouldn't be the only way to get to the top. Like most of these nations, whether the quality of the league is good or not, they have leagues that have been properly established for a long time now. Canada might have the youngest league in the nation in the region. There has to be like players coming up in like Spain, the Netherlands, even in Brazil, Argentina, and so on. There's like a level they can get to within their country that still allows them to like compete on the world stage. Like you look at River Plate, Boca Juniors, Fluminense, Palmeiras, clubs like these, clubs that within the country can still take their players to a level because like they still hold some prestige. To get there, you still have to have the required talent and so on. So it shouldn't be that staying home is to your detriment. I think these nations, these federations, these leagues have to do better at developing those players who do stay. Because yeah, that's how you end up losing players to Europe anyway. Because if there's no path for them here, the only way they can succeed and really get to the level they want or the level they think they can be is to go somewhere else. You have a player who leaves as a teenager and he goes and he grows up in the French system or whatever. He might not be so keen to come back and represent. So, yeah, there has to be more work done into developing the level at home.
Yeah, but also like one thing what I like to say about that particular situation is that there's also in their league, I don't think there's promotion or relegation. There's not like a high level like Libertadores. They're not part of that. So that's why a lot of the players are stagnant that stay there.
You mean Liga MX?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch it to be honest. Yeah, I can't speak much on it. But I just seen like
reading what some Mexican fans have to say about their team, why they probably consider this one of their worst generations right now.
Yeah, there does seem to be a lot of confidence around this current crop of players. So, the £100 million man,
Declan Rice.
I knew you got to know who I'm talking about. So
there's Matty Rice, all the rice, man. Jasmine Rice. This guy's the best rice.
him and Bellingham, I think, are the only two players in recent times signed for like around this kind of fee, where like you just haven't heard of the price tag because their performances have kind of shut everyone up. Yes, he bags the winning goal yesterday, and that's a big goal, regardless of how early it is in the season, because he saw City's result today. What do you think of the signings so far?
Declan Rice,
Yeah.
man, he's amazing, man. Especially defensively, his positioning, the way he wins back the ball. This guy can do everything. Like he's an 8, he's a 6. Whatever Arteta requires him to do, he just fills that role and he does it perfectly. I never seen a bad game from Rice. Like, since he's been at the club, there hasn't been like even when you go back to the game, I think he cleared one off the line. Like, but this guy is just everywhere and he's so good. Like, there's barely deficiency I see in this game. Like, I'm struggling to see any deficiency.
I'll ask you a follow up to that.
Yeah.
Do you think your team can play without him? Do you think if he sustains an injury or he's suspended, do you think Arsenal could be the same without him?
No, not at all. Because Jorginho by himself, I still think that's a risk. I think Jorginho with Partey, Jorginho with Rice would be a good partnership. But Partey just can't stay fit. He just can't stay fit at all. And Jorginho by himself, I don't think that'll be well because maybe Odegaard has to help him track back to help him out. Havertz maybe has to play like deeper, and I don't think that suits him that much. So no, I don't think we can cope without Rice at all. I don't think so.
Do you think that he can be the difference for Arsenal in the title race this season?
I think he can be, but that depends on many factors. Right now, like I say, our attack is slowly coming back now. Like the fluidity in our attack. If you see the last 2 games now, like we're getting the fast-paced football that we were missing last season, and now we also have the defensive solidity. I mean, people talk about the losing game. That's 2 mistakes from the keeper. I wouldn't consider that as bad defending from our team in particular. You know,
it's definitely goalkeeping error, especially the Ross Barkley goal. Has to better on that.
And Zinchenko being suspect sometimes.
And the Wolves game, he gave away. Bro, I felt like the 2-0 was so comfortable. It's like, let me just give him a goal, make it a little uncomfortable.
Zinchenko, defensively, he's suspect, man.
Yeah, he's really defensively suspect, but the only reason why, because he had something to our build up, something like no one can replace that. No one can.
For sure.
But I think there's another problem is Tomiyasu injured now. Like, is that calf again? And Arteta says he's going to be out for a while, and Ben White come back at the perfect time. But yeah, Tomiyasu has been so underrated this season. He's one of our best players. He's so solid.
He's fought his way back into the team.
Yeah. It's that Japanese similarity and humbleness, you know, hard work. Yeah. I rate that work ethic. It's such a good player.
So the first manager, we have the first sacking of the season. From Sheffield, he's gone, and well, I gotta say I'm surprised it took this long because usually at this point in the season we've already looked at like 3-4 managers gone already. But could this be the beginning of the domino? Or the dominoes falling? Because Nottingham Forest absolutely spanked today by Fulham. Raul Jimenez bagging a brace. Good looks on him because he looked like he was really. Yeah, he looked like he was really going through it and took a shot to his confidence, but he's finding his feet. I think he's got like 3 goals now or something. And they spanked Forest today, 5-0. And I think that's 5 losses on the spin for Forest. The relegation battle is grim enough as it is because we don't expect Everton to stay down there. Well, they probably should, but, you know, it is what it is. Is Steve Cooper's job in trouble? Because we saw them go through this rough patch last season and he bailed them out in the end. Can he do it again? Is his job in trouble? And, I mean, who do they get to replace him if they do give him the sack? Like, are we just in line for another one of those like British managerial merry-go-rounds again, where they just dip into the hat and pick out the name of either Sam Allardyce, Tony Pulis, or something like this?
That's tough to answer, but Taiwo Amani, he's not available, right? He's not playing because he's injured, I think.
Taiwo.
Yeah, I think he's injured.
Yeah,
but he's so crucial for them. He scores goals. He's so clinical for a striker in a lower league team. So
yeah,
I miss him. But the thing is, I don't watch Forest games that much, so I can't really go in depth and analyze.
I think he is really, him and Elanga are really the ones who have been kind of carrying their attack. And he's out now. I think they have Chris Wood and the great Divock Origi.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know. Maybe Origi maybe he still has that clutch gene from Liverpool. Maybe he can do something for them. I think Steve Cooper is probably hoping he can. Because getting into the winter period, as we're getting closer to that second half of the season. Yeah,
I feel like Origi is like a dead horse, man. Like Klopp got the most out of him, but like now, just put the guy down. Like he's just not real life. I mean, like, but like they
That's crazy, you know.
I don't think there's anything metaphorically, right? We love Origi. We don't want him to do that, but like, yeah, I'm just saying like Klopp got the best out of him. I don't see every single time he's been out of the club, like since we have Liverpool, he hasn't done anything. I think this guy's scoring statistics and everything, like it's just not good. Like I don't know, his reputation is getting him these deals now. I mean, like it's just
I don't think Chris Cooper is safe at all because the period of inconsistency this season has been terrible. It's been so up and down. Really, really up and down. And like one day they look so good, the next day they look unbelievable.
What's the manager's name again, bro?
I think it's Steve Cooper.
Steve Cooper. Steve Cooper. Steve Cooper. Bro,
I'll let that one slide.
He's the guy with the really tired face. Have you ever seen him?
Huh?
Really tired face?
Yeah.
He looks like cooked every time. He looks like David Nair's father. You know what I mean? Like
Steve Cooper.
Huh?
Steve Cooper. That's exactly what you're talking about. Always looks like he's gonna fall asleep on the
touchline.
Yeah, it's like him and David Nair's could be related, man. They look so high and cooked all the time, bro. Just side by side.
Yo, I did.
And Simic.
I didn't really take that in, you know. Yeah, David Neres, Costa Simicas, and Steve. What a family! What a family! Let me take a glance at the table real quick, see how it's shaping up. Arsenal at the top.
Hopefully the season's not an elephant. That's what I hope.
It's not what?
An elephant.
Arsenal is the elephant.
On top of a tree, you know.
Bro, if Arsenal catapult this season, what are you going to do as an Arsenal fan?
Bro, you ever seen when Rice scored that goal, but I kicked the ball, like I have a styrofoam ball, kicked it in there. Maybe the neighbors heard me upstairs. I don't know. I was going crazy when he scored that goal. Yeah. I was going wild, bro.
So if they bomb, is Arteta out?
Huh?
If they bomb,
no, I'm going to be Arteta in. There's no one better for me. I'll never be Arteta out.
Even if they don't win the league this season?
I won't be Arteta out because I don't see anyone that's better than him right now. And that's got the respect of the players. I just don't see it right now.
So the top four right now is Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, and I think City. Liverpool are only 2 points behind you. Villa aren't very far away. First of all, you guys think Villa can stay there in the top four?
I think they could. It's between them and Spurs.
They
I
still
think them and
have
Spurs.
the likes of Zaniolo to come back. They might like get the backup for Ollie Watkins or something.
Oh
And
yeah, just like
they have good depth in midfield, you know, with
yeah.
like Douglas Luiz, Tielemans, and so on. Kamara. To this day, I can't. Be- Kamara was free. Free to this day. I can't believe Villa got him.
This day, to this day, to this day.
Like all these big teams. Like I don't know if you guys actually watch Kamara when he's playing in France, but man, all these big teams, and when his free agency came up, I'm like, bro, United, come on, you have no six at the club, and Villa bagged him for free. I'm like, mad business, mad business. But there's two players I want to discuss: Pedro Neto and Michael Olise. I rate these players very highly. I think Olise, especially, man, there's something about him when you watch him play. Just his mannerism on the ball, his confidence, the things he can do with his left foot. Do you think they could cut it at a bigger club, both of them? And if so, what do you think would be the best fit for each of them? Like, B, like, where could you see someone like Pedro Neto, for example, playing? Do you think he could cut it at a bigger club? I think.
I mean, Pedro Neto, I'm not like, I think he could, but I'm talking about, I think at least I have more of an idea. It just feels like in a bigger team, we just have the Zaha syndrome. I don't know why, but I could see him being like, because right now he's a big fish in a small pond, but like, what if he goes to a bigger team? Like, will he have the same like impact? Like, I don't know. That's the thing. I feel like that's what I see with him. I see parallels with Zaha a little bit. If he
With
moves,
Olise?
I think, yeah. I don't know. I see that dynamic happening if he moves to a bigger club. I don't know. Like, is that fair to say? But I don't know. Like, I just see that.
Do you agree?
I agree. For Olise, I think his mentality will take him as far as it goes. Like it's all a mentality. You see how you say his confidence is what gives him his ability. Like if you go to a good club, like there's gonna be hard periods and you're gonna be criticized and it's gonna be harsh. Different things. You're gonna face a lot of competition because he's a guarantee. Like as Abi said, he's a guarantee nailed on. He'll start every week. But you take him to a bigger club, he'll start like really competing with
like
players.
If he goes somewhere like City, it's a toss of a coin with Pep whether you're gonna start or not every week.
But when it comes to Pedro Neto, I just think pure baller. Like you know what I mean? I think he has like certain traits that can transfer to many teams. But I could see him either if they didn't have the players they have, I could see him either in Liverpool or Arsenal. Truly. If they didn't have the players they have at their positions, I think he would suit their styles of play really, really well.
But I thought the Liverpool might be a good show. I can see that.
Yeah, I think he really, really like Klopp would do wonders with him in the way he plays. But yeah, like really good ballers out of Wolves. You know what I mean? Like they're using them well. Yeah, so.
Abby, would you take him at Arsenal as like a backup to Saka so Saka could get some rest?
100%. I would happily take him. I would happily take him as that. Because who do we have? I think we have Reece Nelson. He's a good player too. I like Reece Nelson. Every time he comes on the bench, he makes a good impact. But I feel like Neto has higher aspirations a little bit. So I don't think.
I think he has to start wherever he goes.
Yeah.
And he can play on both sides. He's deadly off the left, he's deadly off the right. 1v1, pace.
Creation, his creating abilities are just so good. Yeah.
And like his numbers aren't elite, but he can get you some goals too. Like in an Arsenal, in a Liverpool, where he's getting more chance, getting played through. Yeah, he can bag you some goals, and he'll terrorize a fullback all game. Like of the like mid to lower table teams, like these two are probably like my favorite players to watch. Really, like I could watch Wolves just for Pedro Neto, bro. Like
Yeah.
you know he's gonna do something at some point that's gonna get you off your seat. And I feel like you don't see a lot of that in the modern game. Everything is kind of based around the system, which
Individuality isn't as big.
it's not so prominent. No, which is like it's refreshing to see players like Pedro Neto, like Jeremy Doku, like Vinicius, like Bellingham. Like you guys don't watch the league, but Bellingham is a dog, bro.
Yeah. And there's just certain players like just magic, like when you watch them you feel happy, like with Bellingham. This is when I was like, all right, he's a different breed. When I was watching the Napoli game, it was 90 minutes, right? He played the ball into somebody. I don't remember who it was, and then he got played through. He really pointed and he ran to where the ball was played through, and he gave that Modric type of outside of the foot assist to Joselu.
Joselu, yeah.
Yeah, bro. And I'm like, this guy is just pure class because from the start of the move to finish, the movement, the space, the awareness, the intelligence to be able to these positions and like play the right ball to the guy in the far post is incredible. And that's the level, ballers with magic is hard to find, but when you see them, you appreciate it.
He was doing it in the Predators too, showing on President.
The red, black, and white Predators.
Crazy.
Class.
You saw what they did after with Joselu. It kind of like pushed him into the fans to get their embrace, which was a nice touch because like I felt so sorry for him, man. After like the first 2 or 3 misses, you could see it in his face, on his body language. He was so down. Yeah. And his reaction when he scored the goal was like apologizing to the fans, really. And like the sense is the fans love him, man, because he is a Madrid boy. He came from La Fabrica.
Yeah.
And like you hear them chanting his name when he's coming off, and they go, Jose. And it's like they want him to do well. They're behind him, and he's just like in that. You could see like he felt like he was letting them down, and like even the way they were chanting his name after he scored, man. Like the fans love him, and everyone seems like a real team player, and everyone wants him to do well. So it was a nice touch from Bellingham to allow him to like embrace the acclaim from the crowd,
I bet Gareth Bale was throwing golf clubs at the TV after seeing that.
Damn.
Bro, the things you say are
throwing golf clubs at the TV. Oh, they have golf clubs in the living room, man.
He's obsessive golf, man.
So, in the press conference, Pep the other day, I think they asked him like how he's feeling right now, like after 3 draws on the bounce. Like how he's feeling, and he said, if you ask me how I'm feeling, I think we're gonna win the Premier League. Word for word, bar for bar, he said that. Will they? What would this be? What would this be? 3 years in a row or 4? This would be 4 years in a row.
Never
right?
done in history of Premier League, so before. Yeah.
And they haven't done it yet. You think they will?
I feel like he's so sarcastic, though. I think that was a sarcastic comment because he always says sarcastic stuff. Like
but I mean, there's an element of truth to that. Like if he is saying he believes they'll win it, it's not like he's just pulling a farcical scenario out of nowhere. They won the league 3 years in a row. Think about
this. When they're playing one at the top of the league of points at the top, this is what he says. Our season's not finished. He tries to deflect, so no, we don't have the chance, something like that. Always downplays his chances, but now that he's not like at top of the league, he can say, maybe to encourage, motivate his team, maybe a sarcastic comment. You just never know with Pep. Pep is just...
Honestly...
He's never said that in top of the league. He's never said that. We're going to win the league.
But I'll say this. I've bet against them a lot. I've put my money.
As
I
a
bet it.
hater should.
I will tell you something. They they find a way, and it annoys me, but it's very impressive how they find a way. They found a way for a couple of different scenarios, and when it just comes to those 14 games like stringing in a row of wins, they do it better than anybody we know right now. So on the basis of that, I'm saying City dub.
You know, this season justice. You know why? Because every single damn season, Rodri gets away with these fouls, never gets a yellow for them. But finally, this season, they're actually punishing him. You know what I mean? Finally.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's not that, you know. The past couple seasons, man, when it comes to the home stretch, they've had Gundo. Running Gundo
Ronaldo
is a
Nazario memes,
different breed of player, man.
Yeah, no, he's a dog.
Crunch time Gundo is him.
Yeah,
Like he's balling at Barcelona, right?
Yeah.
It pains me to see. Like I think he's one of the most underrated midfielders of his generation. He's always been a personal favorite of mine. I was pissed when City got him to begin with. Now I'm watching him ball at Barcelona. I'm pissed again.
Honestly, like I feel like if injuries weren't a side of his career, he would have been top 5, top 10.
Top 5, eh?
Yeah. Just injuries. A lot.
I think he has everything to his game, man. They asked Pep like which current player, I think this was last season or something, which current player he thinks like would be a manager, and he didn't even hesitate. He said Gundogan for sure. He's like the way his intelligence, his knowledge of the game, the way he communicates, like Gundogan for sure. And I could see that. You can see in the way he plays, man. You can almost like see his mind working when he's on the pitch, his movements, like how he scans the pitch, the passes he plays. He knows like when to go, when to stay. Even when he he scored in El Clasico, when he scored the first goal, I was like, I almost wasn't surprised it was him. I was like, man, this guy just. I want to like this guy. He's making it so hard to like him, man. Like, you won't leave me alone. He's been bullying teams that I enjoy for years. And I don't see an obvious weakness in his game, man. He's one of those, man, I think you can put him anywhere and he'll just ball out. Like, he's just elite for me. Definitely underrated. I think people only really give him his flowers towards the business end of the season because usually that's when he starts bagging goals left, right, and center. But his overall game, like him and Thiago have always been like the standard for me. Like criminally underrated players, man. It's like it's a joy to watch them. Yeah. Like you love football and you watch these guys, you really enjoy the game, man.
I'm calling it right now. I think Gundogan and Xabi Alonso will meet one day as coaches, and we'll see who's better. We'll see who's good. That'll be tasty.
That would be tasty, you know. Mm-hmm. Alonso with that Madrid squad, and Gundo with City.
I could or Barcelona. Who knows how?
No. I think Xavi might be at Barca for a while, but I was thinking about it actually when they asked Pep the question. I'm like, the question people have been asking this for a while. Like, when Pep goes, how do City replace him? Maybe the answer is in one of his former disciples, and like who knows how long he will stay. But yeah, down the line, who's to say someone like Gundo won't come back and pick up where Pep left off? And
hopefully, when he comes in, City will be in League 2 or something like that.
That's funny.
Abby is a professional hater. This guy never takes a break.
Hey, City, man. I love City. Guys, don't abuse me. Yes.
Nah, man, we're here for all the smoke. You have to be an equal opportunity hater, Abby. See, like my when I'm hating and I hate everybody, man. Like I'm hating.
For some
on
reason, the only team that I don't really hate that much, that's like a top team, probably Liverpool. I don't really hate them that much, to be honest. It's not like real rivalry there or hatred. I just don't feel
Okay. What do you guys think about the City Liverpool rivalry? Is it a rivalry?
It's just competitive. Competitivity. Yeah, that's it.
That's the
just
correct.
it.
But is it City Liverpool or just Klopp Guardiola?
It's just the teams. Just the teams.
Yeah, but without those guys, it wouldn't be possible.
Because you know what's annoying is that Klopp and Pep, they're all lovey-dovey, like deflecting. We need some passion, man. And you know when Conte and Mourinho had their beef, that was box office, man. I need something like that back.
I think that's just for the media. I think I saw a source somewhere that's like, to us it seems like they're great friends and whatever, but it's more like a cold respect, like a distant respect. Like you don't really mess with each other like that off the pitch. Like they respect each other's game because they've like fought so much, and I think Klopp's beaten Pep more than any other manager.
Yeah.
But yeah, reading an article, a story about it, and like a source close to them claimed that like, yeah, it's more like a cold respect, to be honest. Like what we think is not what is.
Yeah. What do you think is the closest thing we got to the Premier League in terms of that character like Mourinho? What do you think he was the closest to that? We don't have
in the Prem? No, no one.
Nah, it can be. I don't think he's too unique, man. He's too
Nah.
Yeah,
Pep is getting into it now. He's having fun in the press conferences now. He's saying some wild things.
I don't make Arteta comments.
But nah, man. Jose is one of one. Jose is one of one. Like you listen to the way his players talk about him. I always find it interesting when you look back at the teams he's managed and like you listen to how his players talk about them. You can tell which ones are successful and which ones weren't. You know what I mean? Like, you hear the likes of, like, from his successful Chelsea days, like the Michels, Terry, Lampard, Drogba, and so on. Just about anyone from Inter's treble team. The likes of Xabi Alonso at Madrid and so on. When you hear like these guys talked about him, who have really like taken on his message and his ways and like really reap the rewards, it's a stark contrast to like players who felt like maybe they were a little hard done by him.
Yeah.
Like even I was watching Vibe with Five, the interview with John Obi Mikel. And they asked them about like the likes of Salah and De Bruyne and so on, how they felt about that situation. And it's like, yeah, it's like when you get the chance with Mourinho, you have to deliver. Like you only get so many chances. And De Bruyne got his chances and like he didn't cut it. And Mourinho at the time is not the kind to put an armor on you and say it's okay. It's like, okay, you have to go. You have to find another club.
Yeah. It's also like De Bruyne didn't want to fight for his place in the team. That's the thing. He didn't want to do that.
He was done.
But it worked out for the best. Because like maybe in another world he stays at Chelsea and maybe he breaks through, maybe he doesn't. He probably doesn't hit the level he is now. So it all worked out. Same with Salah. Maybe he stays and really establishes himself. But
I feel like if these players are there is now. but these players are so good, they're so talented, but but at that time maybe they don't have they're too humble and they have too much humility. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes he wants those boys to be men too quickly. Sometimes I think that's what happens with KDB and Salah.
Maybe.
Because I think they are hardworking players. They're not bad attitude. They're good. They have good young players. But I think sometimes, maybe these players need an arm around them sometimes. That stage
they need someone like Don Carlo, you know?
Exactly.
The GOAT. The GOAT man manager.
Yeah.
100%.
So we've established that Arsenal aren't gonna win the league.
Come on. I gotta have faith until I have to say next season.
You say next season, this season?
No, not yet.
Don't be like the Liverpool fans. So you remember when the Liverpool fans would be like, every year is like, next year is our year. No, don't become like this.
I want the one the big ears, man.
Oh,
that's the one I want. It's the one I'm dreaming of.
I won't lie.
Mouse?
No, the UEFA Champions League.
Oh. Let me tell you this: would you sacrifice a Prem right now for a Champions?
Yes.
No doubt.
I 100% I would. It'll take all the embarrassment out for us. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's the thing. That's the one trophy that's like elusive, man.
And then
Spurs will definitely be the smallest club in Europe. I mean, not in Europe. Yeah, maybe in Europe. Maybe in Europe.
In the whole Europe.
Then they'll be guaranteed, you know?
Yeah.
And no one can say it to us anymore.
Man, it's really like watching your team win it is a brilliant thing, you know? Like
I would take 8th place in the league and a Champions League trophy. That's what I would do. I don't agree with that.
That's mad. But like it almost makes you forget some of the darker days, because like I remember to this day, the day Madrid won La Decima, I remember that day almost like clockwork, man. We're walking down to one of the guys' house. We were watching the game there right up until Ramos scored the equalizer in extra time. I remember being on the edge of my seat, man, like mad nervous and looking like a junkie and shit. And then I didn't even watch extra time because we had training right after. So they were like, screw that. They stayed, and I was still kind of new to the team, so I'm like, no, I'm gonna go training. So I go extra times playing, and then they're calm and they're getting the 2-1, 3-1, 4-1. And like when the game ends, man, because like that was my first time seeing Madrid win the UCL. And like I'm growing up in a period where at least when I start getting into football, Barca is walking us in the league, man. Like we're getting mopped up in Spain. That's like watching your biggest rivals dog you like that and win trebles and stuff. And then Madrid goes and does it. And then the season after 14-15, the day they played the second leg against Juventus when they got knocked out, that was the day I moved to Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, so the whole day I'm at the airport thinking about this game, man. I'm on the flight, I'm thinking about this game, and I get here. So that was literally like the first piece of news I checked when I got to my aunt's place and I got on the Wi-Fi. I checked the result and realized that Juventus knocked us out. And then we go and win it 3 years in a row, and you almost like take it for granted, man. Like I remember the third one against Liverpool, I watched it with like Warris and them. I was at his crib, and when the game finished, it's like, because we're all Madrid fans, we didn't really know what to do, man. It's like it's the third time in a row, and like the initial joy and like the excitement, but it fades so fast. And like it's like I'm walking home and I get home and like, what now? You're just looking forward to the new season. So like I think as fans sometimes maybe we don't like appreciate what the game gives us sometimes, we kind of take it for granted. And then, the next year when you get spanked by Ajax, it kind of brings back a reality check. Like, yeah, it means something. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, what is this Newcastle team seal? Because
Sorry?
right now, they're, bro, in 1 week, dispatched Chelsea, gone to Paris and got robbed of 3 points and put away United comfortably. While like basically not being able to make any substitutions, like they're down to the bare bones, like the squad is being ripped apart by injuries.
Right.
They basically have a starting 11 and that's it. And now they barely have that because Pope is out too.
Oh yeah, 4 or 5 months apparently.
I think they're trying to sign De Gea too.
Oh yeah, my man is still unemployed. He drops like the odd like Instagram story or whatever of him working out.
Yeah. But honestly, when I see the ceiling for Newcastle, it has to be Premier League. Not even now, but like when they build in a couple of years, I'd say it has to be Premier League. I think they have a lot of great components. They have the stadium, they have the fans, and just like the passion around the place seems very, very good. So
Yeah, you can't buy that,
you can't buy that. Absolutely not. Like I think people say it's better than Anfield. Some people say that St. James's Park is that good when it comes to the atmosphere.
I've never
lied to you, man. It's crazy there.
But
like I want to visit it now in person. To be honest with you,
from what I've seen and what any game I've watched, St. James's Park is the loudest. I don't think anything is for a big stadium like that.
Yeah, people say Anfield is great, but sometimes it could be overrated. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah.
Bro, just the way they react to even
the PSG Newcastle game. The
PSG game when they were closing PSG down.
Yeah,
and you can hear the volume rising and the tension. I'm like, bro, as an away player, I would hate to be here right now. Like, and they were buckling. They mopped up PSG, weren't they? Like 4-0,
4-1.
And they were trying to play out, and they were getting closed, and every tackle, they were going crazy.
So if I'm an opposition player, the one place I'd never want to play if I'm playing in Europe is in Turkey, man. Obviously, when they did to Garnacho, they told him to be quiet because the Turkish fans are crazy. They could storm the field or something like that. You know what I mean? So they told him to calm down.
Anthony had to be apologized. Even when they scored the second goal, I saw McTominay coming over, like moving them away from the corner because they're like throwing projectiles at them and stuff.
Like, yeah, they're wild.
I don't know.
They don't break the bus.
Yeah, they're St. James's Park in the Prem for sure. I've watched 1 or 2 like Turkish Super League games. Like so Besiktas is a while ago. Dele Alli was still there, and he was rubbish. But the atmosphere was crazy, and the fans are getting on him too.
No.
Yeah. It's admirable, really. But I gotta say, man, the Bernabeu on a Champions League night, especially when Madrid needs like a comeback win or something.
No,
that theme tune after they score a goal is so legendary.
Huh?
That tune they play after they score a goal.
Yeah. It's I was glad I got to visit it. Sorry, I didn't see a game there because we left like I think literally 2 days before the season started. But there's a presence about it, I was sitting in the stands, like I walked all the way around. I was like stood behind the goal, looking at the length of the pitch, sitting in the stands around halfway. And there's like, first of all, you can't see outside the stadium. It's like a cavern. If you look up, it's just clouds. And like it's in the city center, so all the urban buildings and stuff are around it. But the location, the size of it, and everything, it's probably not the biggest stadium I'll ever be in, but it's a yeah. You can feel the atmosphere, and I think it's Courtois who said it. It's like when he's at Stamford Bridge and great stadium, but like there's buildings around and stuff. Here in the Bernabeu, and you look up and it's just you're only seeing the fans. You're just in this area, all eyes on you. And I had to call my mom, man. It was like a special moment, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a trip I'd encourage. Like,
Incredible.
maybe not necessarily to the Bernabeu, but go to the Emirates, go to the bridge. Yeah, man.
I think the Emirates is underrated too. I think
sure.
Especially last two seasons, like before, like we've been accused of being have a quiet atmosphere, but I think the last 2-3 seasons, the atmosphere's really improved, and football's improved too. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Fans are finally excited again.
These man had 21 Savage in the building, bro. Welcoming him back to the UK.
That was super mad.
It's good to hear like the insight, Abdul, especially from like watching the game live.
Absolutely.
And like yeah, maybe that display is a step in the right direction for the region. We can only hope.
Yes.
And AFCON is coming up soon, so but yeah, we're gonna wrap it up there. As usual, pleasure seeing you all. Love chopping it up, talking about the beautiful game and so on. Hopefully next week we won't have to see Abby in tears after getting pieced out by Emery's Villa.
Nah. It'll be a good evening for us. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Uncle Unai, if you see this, he's talking shit. He's talking shit. But yeah, for the viewers, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the support and all that. We got more content coming.
I'd like to offer support for trust fans that watch this. As it seems very rough period for them. We see even our trust fans here. They're growing a beard, looking very rough right now. We see it's aging them. So full support to them as well.
Whatever he just said, I don't even know what he's talking about. But we appreciate y'all tuning in. We appreciate the love. Yeah, we're gonna continue talking about the game because we love it. It's like that one movie. I love the game. I love the hustle.
I love the hustle. Yeah.
I love this game ever.
If you don't come for the football, just come for Abby. Yeah.
Happy. I mean, pause.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was kind of crazy.
That was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that was impossible.
Yeah, that was kind of wild. Yeah, we gonna leave it right there.
King, you step.
That's a sign. We've been on this call for too long.
Sure.
we gonna have to wrap it up right there. But yeah, pleasure seeing y'all. Some good games coming up on the weekend. So yeah, lots to look forward to. On that note, y'all have a good night. To the viewers again, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the support. Continue to like, share it with your friends. Feel free to join the discussion below. If you have any thoughts, did you agree or disagree with like what we think about like the topics we discussed and so on, especially with like if you're from the region, you're in CONCACAF and stuff, and you want to like chime in, you have your views on the system. Yeah, we appreciate the feedback. But it's like really a curious topic, So till next time, y'all take care. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.